welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. There's like fucking 4 of these in your inbox this morning. With me today is Troy Brittingham.
I am one of the ones in your inbox. Just shuffle around for me.
Shuffle around in there.
Just
Go in the search box.
Stick your hand in there and just kind of wiggle it around.
Just wiggle those fingers around. Wiggle those sweet little sausages
into
around.
the pudding that is our podcast.
They call him the shuffler.
Yeah. Just noodle them fingers.
Shuffling good.
You know what noodling is, Troy, when you go fishing?
He be noodling
Noodling when you go fishing? No.
Okay, so D's here. That's the other voice you
no.
hear, and I'm Jeff Ackerman.
Hey,
so,
I'm D.
noodling, I'll put it under the intro music so that we're not wasting too much time.
Is it like hey noodling?
No, so noodling is the process of fishing with your fingers. You stick your fingers into the water until a catfish nibbles on them, and then you shove your hand into the fish and just grab it and just yank it out the water.
God, that sounds dreadful.
It's called noodling.
That sounds like a thing I would maybe never do in my life.
There's a comedy magician named Matt Donnelly, and I've seen him live in person a few times, and he is really fucking funny and very talented. He does a straightest jacket escape, because a lot of magicians do a straight jacket escape. He does the straightest jacket. It is a NASCAR driver's jacket that's Hooters
sounds,
branded.
Now, it sounded vaguely homophobic. Now it sounds legitimately homophobic.
Yes. That's the point. It's a Hooters NASCAR jacket that he wears, and then he handcuffs his hands behind him, and it's called the straightest jacket escape. Fucking hilarious.
So you support homophobia is what you're saying.
Anyway, so this is The Last of Us, episode 8. Episode 8, boys. There's only one left.
Boy.
All right, so episode 8. This is the Ellie by herself episode, and we are going to go ahead and do the thumbs up, thumbs down bit. Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
D.
Numero uno.
That
doesn't make sense. Thumbs up.
One thumb. Which way is it going? I'll never tell.
up my butt.
But it's going up. Your butt.
Thumbs up for me as well. So, Troy, we've talked before at length about how we are fans of the source material, the PlayStation 4 video game.
Not so much me. I mean, I'm not a fan. I just
Troy, be on my side for once, you fucking pedantic motherfucker.
I barely know the game.
You pedantic motherfucker.
You can't just will my opinion into existence.
I like the jazzy color commentary. This is nice. That's all we should relegate to.
It's
we
always
should talk
good
about
to be appreciated.
We should talk about the episode, and he should just kind of like
keep doing
serenade the episode.
Yeah. Jazzy undertones
with the serenade style.
I love it. All right, fine. I'm a big fan of the games. And while some of the dialogue and writing choices differed a little bit, and of course they have to because you're doing a show,
different medium.
It's a very different medium.
It's an adaptation.
Yes, but it's quite true to the source material. There's a couple scenes that are like almost shot for shot the same, and boy fucking howdy, this fucking episode was so fucking good. I remember the game, and you start off with Joel in the basement. He's like recovering, and Ellie's there taking care of him, and it's a cutscene. And then the time you get to play again, you're playing as Ellie, and it's like, oh shit, I'm Ellie. What the fuck's going on with Joel? I gotta help him. I gotta save his life. And you just start going through the game and doing what you gotta do. And it's just such a great big like whoa moment in the game. And it's fucking. They do it really really well in the show. And the only way it could have been more powerful is if the previous episode didn't happen, and this was like a brand new thing, was all through Ellie's perspective. But I loved the pacing of the show so far. I really enjoy the way they did it. I also want to point out real quick, not related to us specifically, viewership for this episode is 75% higher than the pilot. And every episode since the pilot, it has only gone up. There has not been a decline in weekly viewership on HBO.
I think it's one of the best shows on right now. Like they've not.
I think it's that, but that statistic alone, like it hasn't lost viewership week to week since it started running 8 weeks ago. This is
I've
told
people about it.
Well, neither have I.
Yeah.
Everybody I know who's like vaguely interested in this type of thing, I've told like you should watch The Last of Us.
Yeah, and it's like all people from almost all walks of life are like really enjoying this show. It's not like shitting on any one particular group or person or anything. It's just a really good, well-written
Everybody
show.
with Ben Shapiro likes it.
It's shitting on anybody's not work. I'm sure
it's shitting on cannibals.
The fact of the show, every
yeah, there's a cannibal watching this episode going, hey,
wait a minute. I have a refined palate, thank you, sir.
Every Ben Shapiro fan who wants to see like a zombie show and is faced with like gay dude love
Oh man.
is like butthurt, ironically, or appropriately. I
It's
don't know.
like in Florida where they banned the book and Tango Makes Three. Have you guys heard about that?
No, but Florida banning.
So,
DeSantis
and Tango Makes Three is a book written about actual penguins that existed in the New York City Zoo, I think. It was 2 male penguins that adopted a little baby and raised it, and it was a book about that little family. And Florida school districts...
Oh, even the penguins are going woke these days.
That's literally what somebody said. And
well, the
Florida,
tuxedo should have tipped you.
Florida banned it. There was a guy who was like protesting it at like a school board meeting, and he was saying that this...
He was a Florida bandit?
Yes. And this book pushed the agenda that 2 men could love each other and raise a healthy child, and that shouldn't be allowed in schools. And they fucking banned the book.
Wow, it's weird that all this
And
evidence...
that's the story of Robin Hood, kids.
Yeah.
That's all you'll know in the future. How are you going to deny me? You
Yep.
won't have any books.
You won't have any books if you're from Florida. Fucking last in the nation in public school. Anyway.
By then, they'll burn all the books. They'll be all burned.
Yep.
Well, we still got Kindle.
we still got our Kindles.
Yeah, then they'll turn that off. And they'll be like, oh, shit.
Oh, damn.
It's
shouldn't
actually the 21st century, and we have all these books backlogged. And
shouldn't have been so haughty when we were burning them books.
Yep. Oh, man. But, yeah, so fucking... I guess people that really don't want to watch gay people on TV might be hating this fucking episode, this show, but, you know, fuck them. I did love how last episode
Gaily. Fuck them gaily.
Last episode, we all pointed out almost to a man that was like, oh, Joel definitely infected, right? And this episode, it was a big plot point of her getting penicillin and just injecting it straight into the wound, which I guess is how it works. I don't think that's how it works in real life, but I guess it might work.
I mean...
D, you're old and wise. Don't you have to put it like in a vein, right? Or at least in like a
I don't know exactly, but like you're basically good. Most stuff's gonna get into your bloodstream, right? Like,
especially if your blood's all
especially
right
if the blood is coming right.
Yeah,
So like you're down to get it. I don't think she knew any better. I think it spoke to kind of her childishness with it.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
I think obviously the best bet when you're not trained in this manner like this is to just go buttocks. You know, like get it in the butt and then go. That's the way to.
But like we know that from
Ooh,
like
fatty.
even basic.
Or just
first
like
aid
the
stuff
way you
we've
give
seen.
like antibiotic, like you get your shot in your arm. You get that's where you would get it.
But she was raised in a world where there were no like.
Yeah,
shots
I thought.
like that.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's a little weird, but she.
I think
knows the
post
basic concept.
apocalypse, you're not getting your rabies vaccine anymore.
I mean, assuming he had. Like, I still feel like in this, like this is such a crazy thing. Like they literally injected him, and he's gonna do. I could believe that.
She also put 2 full like bottles into him.
Yeah, they did a good job of kind of like selling it that like there was some time, there was like a day or so at least, and antibiotics, if they do start working, if you do have an infection, like will start to work. I don't know if it'll continue to. He needs like steady antibiotics, and
Yeah.
that's the issue. Is that like I don't think they're gonna go there.
No, I think it's
but
enough
like
to...
he could arguably feel better by that point. But if they keep going to be like it's getting worse, like that'd be interesting.
It
I mean,
could.
they're already doing. You complain about this all the time of
Yeah.
like people hitting their heads and being fine.
No, it's impossible. I can't.
And
Oh,
but
yeah.
like this is at least doing a lot more legwork than almost every show.
Yeah, like any other show, he
is.
would have
If-
just been
if
in the
they don't-
basement for an episode and then gotten up.
If they don't follow this up with anything, it's still like, well, they did better than everything else.
It's just it's like how like think of the episodes that we've seen of like some shows of like Game of Thrones or something like that, where it's just like they live in a world without this shit.
In a world without antibiotics.
And they somehow make it arguably believable that these characters can get the hand chopped off and survive because people did.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
Yeah, it did.
So they cauterize it. You know that it wasn't clean, but like you're not getting the infection at that point. You cauterize the fucking stump.
Now I can live
and
to the
you're
old
good.
age of 40.
Yeah. so like you kind of bought like a little of that stuff. Like, you know, this is different, right? gut wound, stab wound, you got to get antibiotics. I'm like, it's like a whole thing.
Especially
so, like,
a broken wooden baseball bat that stabbed you.
So
like, that thing's full of
certain
shit.
things are more believable than others. It's about how you tell the story as to like what extents and dangers are believable and what you have to do to get out of that danger. Like if you're going to plan to have these things go. So it's an issue of storytelling in my mind more so than anything else. You can have him do that, except okay, in the game, doesn't he just fall on wire or something, or does he get jumped still?
I think it's still that.
Oh, it's still the
he gets
same
attacked,
situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that death plays a big part in the game
Yeah.
for the rest of the game. Because you remember in the camp, that little girl, like her dad was the one that Joel killed,
Yeah.
and then they ran away from the rest of them.
Okay.
That little girl, her name is Abby, by the way. If you know, you know, and I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
The little girl's Abby. What do you mean?
The little girl. So with the man Joel killed at the college.
Yeah.
David, the
No, I
cult
got it. The
leader.
little girl. He's like, I'm your daddy now. What I got you?
Yeah, that little girl. Her name was Abby.
Slaps her.
Yeah.
Oh, is that gonna be like her girl now? Like she's gonna get it on?
Absolutely,
Little
yes.
little scissor
yes.
action.
It actually goes into the next HBO series.
I mean, I don't mean to talk about like young teens, but like, go at it, girl.
It's actually a reboot
Had a
of
hard
the L
life.
Word in a
Don't mean to be
post-apocalyptic world.
What's that?
I said the next season is a reboot of the L Word in a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, that's great. I'm here for it.
Yeah, totes.
I mean, I don't know why I didn't think the show would be going that way. Why wouldn't it?
No.
It does seem like the writing's on the wall.
We've
now.
seen old gay dudes and young queer women.
Anyway,
So far.
So the whole cult bit with David, and he's running the resort, and they're fucking cannibals. I mean, I knew, but like, even if I didn't
Wait, they
know,
were fucking the cannibals?
oh yeah.
I mean, if they're all cannibals and they're kids,
somebody's fucking a cannibal.
They would have to be fucking the cannibals.
I guess so.
No
But like
shit.
when the guy comes out of like the cold room with a pan
Venison.
of just red meat and just puts it down, and she asks, "What is that?" and he just looks at her and then says venison. Like,
It was so bloody. Like,
Yeah,
he was so
first of
fucking
all,
bloody.
I don't
There's
believe
no
you.
fucking way you serve it that way. Like you're a fucking vampire.
yeah, like, oh my god. And like the way
Especially if you know that it's.
Wouldn't it be wild if in the 8th episode of this 9-episode series they just were like, and there's vampires in this universe?
Bleh, I want to suck your blood.
Yeah.
They don't sound like that.
The bats evolved too.
How do vampires poop if all they eat is blood? Is it just like coagulated blood turds? We're not talking about this.
Listen, you know what? It's not polite to ask about a vampire's time.
I forgot that you were a child of the
They
night.
only defecate once a month.
Why-
Why do you think that we have to invite him into the apartment every single time we want to do an episode?
That's a really good point. Dee's never shown up unannounced. I have to invite him in. Dee, are you a vampire, bud? Is that the secret to
This is preposterous.
your youthful glow,
No.
despite being 800
That's
years old?
crazy. That's what a crazy person would say.
Oh my god! What nice sharp canine teeth you have there, bud.
Listen,
It is
do you
weird
have
how
any
he,
more food?
it is weird how at his home he does have a coffin that he sleeps in.
Yeah, I always thought it was just because
It's-
he's super goth like that.
It's just a prop from a movie that I saw when I was a kid and I really liked
What
it.
movie would
It's
that be,
cool.
bud?
Dracula.
Dracula. Oh,
him
interesting.
and, Him and his wife, anytime he's like, why don't you come in for dinner? I'm having you for dinner.
We would love to have you for dinner.
He says that every time, and every single
Every
time we're
time.
like, that's weird.
What a weird way to phrase it, man. I feel like somebody who has a better grasp of the English language would.
want to have you for dinner.
Oh man,
You keep pausing
Why?
I don't like the way you
as
paused.
if to build suspense every time.
All right, The Last of Us.
Last of Us, yeah.
Jesus, the last of you listening.
D, as a guy who didn't play the game and had no idea what was coming, how'd you like the episode?
C. I don't even-
C,
how did I like
geese.
this? I thought it was a good. It's definitely not my favorite. There's not nothing.
There's a lot of really strong
it's gonna be really
episodes.
hard. Trying to think where it stacks up so far.
Man, we should do a top 3 of this. I feel like the range will be wild.
What is the last episode I was not on, right? Were we doing?
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
flashback.
the last episode.
What was it about?
Was that the last episode, number 7?
It's the flashback. It's the mall. Well, if this
Yeah,
is 8,
flashback
the last one
in
would
the
be
mall.
7.
Was I not there for that?
No, I don't think you were.
I
I think that was just a me and Troy special.
I
Or no,
dug
Chris was
that.
there. Chris was there.
I didn't listen to that one because I wasn't sure if you were still spoiling shit.
We were not.
We did not.
We only did that
All
the
right.
one time.
Maybe I gotta listen.
We learned our lesson.
The ratings plummeted.
They didn't actually.
No, I'm kidding. Like and subscribe. So what? Yeah, that episode was good. I dug some of the music in there. That was a neat episode. I dug some of the world building that was getting done there. It left some stuff open. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, depending on how they revisit it. Because I do feel like I want to see how that whole played out.
Yeah, that was my thing. They both liked it the way it was, and I said that I would have liked it to.
Do we know that from the extra material from the?
Do we know what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The DLC or what is it called? The ELC.
What was
What are you asking?
the bonus content.
Do we know what from that?
Do
I
we
missed
know
the
how
question.
it plays out? Like how she's not infected, but her friend is, and like Riley is, or whatever. Like, do we know how that plays out? Like, do we know how that exactly ends? Like,
No, that's left ambiguous in the game. I
okay.
believe.
So, do we know how she ends up with Marlene and shit?
I believe she encounters her at some point between that and going back to the Fedra school. I don't believe she ever goes back to Fedra after that point. I believe she ends up finding Marlene and talking
Like where
to
we
the
met her.
Fireflies.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But we don't know kind of how that goes down at all.
I think it might
kind of
get-
ends the way it is.
I think in Last of Us Part 2, it gets elaborated on a little bit more because in Last of Us Part 2, Ellie is the main character, and you follow her a bit closer. So you learn a bit more about her backstory.
Gotcha. So you're just going to spoil everything for me, huh?
No, I'm just saying we learn more in the
What do
the
you
rest of it.
mean?
They change perspective. What do you mean? What do I mean?
So she doesn't die in this one.
Yeah. Oh man.
So Joel's totally alive at the end of this.
Yes.
Okay, of course.
I don't understand what you're trying to get at and what you're baiting out of me.
He's trying to read you like a book that'll get canceled in Florida.
When they make a sequel to a good game, they try to innovate and make it better.
I would say that this is a thumbs up, 100%. If that wasn't clear,
Yeah, it was.
I already said it, but like I really liked the build up of suspense that this whole season has kind of really led up to, which is that really, really, really suddenly powerful moment. It's a little too short and quick to sit in, even on multiple viewings and stuff. But like when he grabs her and goes, "It's okay, baby girl."
The very, very end.
And
Yeah.
that's they say is this from the
Yeah, because he
from the-
calls his daughter "baby girl" in the first episode.
right. I got it.
Yeah, it's almost the exact same.
You didn't have to. The writing.
Yeah.
I didn't have to know that.
No, I knew it immediately, even though I didn't actually remember. Like I knew that immediately.
I knew
like,
that he
oh,
wouldn't
shit.
call her that. Like I knew that that's just whatever. It's just, yeah, of course. And that's
The
really
progression
not
of their relationship.
And holy shit. Yeah, this is this her Emmy episode for her?
Oh, for Bella
it
Ramsey?
could be.
Yeah.
It very well could be.
Her
really
stabbing the
good.
guy, her stabbing Dave,
David, yeah.
her stabbing David over and over and over and over and over again.
Her
the meat
look
was-
at the end
was really from
With the
that
blood on her
point up
face.
until her seeing Joel again. I was kind of like
when he's
I
hugging her
wasn't
saying,
like
"Ba-"
it wasn't like a full on cry for me, but I was like, oh shit, like I feel very bad for you.
Pedro Pascal is so
Strong,
so
big.
intense. Like he's so cool.
I really feel
I don't know
like
how else to put it.
no matter what's going on in my life, if
Really,
Pedro
really.
Pascal were to just let me hug him and bury my head in his shoulder, like I feel like everything would be okay.
disclaimer, because everybody in Hollywood sucks. He seems like a very cool guy that I'm gonna hang out with.
I really love, like, there's nothing better. And spoilers. Just skip ahead like 30, 40 seconds.
Spoilers for what?
Game of Thrones, like season 4, like whatever. So,
Game
like,
of Thrones is fair game.
whatever.
That game
No, I'm
show's
just saying,
been
like,
over
if you
for
don't
10
want to hear
years.
about it, like, skip
Spoilers
like a
for
minute
The
ahead.
Wizard of Oz.
Skip it like a minute ahead. No, it's worth it now.
I know.
But anyway, Pedro Pascal is in that season, so skip ahead like a minute. But either way, he when he walks in with this BDE into the Game of Thrones universe, where there's all these fucking scumbags and none of your favorite characters have anybody, and he strolls in with this big dick energy, just being like, oh, I fucking hate Lannisters. Like, you're like, oh, fuck yeah, me too. Like, it's and he is just like, from that's like the moment, and then he has all these moments of just like standing up for the little guy, whether it's not even really like because he loves it, just because like it coincides with his plans, but it's just fucking awesome to have him on your side, and it's amazing. So he has had this energy since the beginning, and I don't know how you transition to Mandalorian with this only the voice, and then it just perfectly translates into like, well, now I see you in real life, and it's awesome, especially after fucking Wonder Woman 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yeah.
And I don't mean he also fucked Wonder Woman. I mean like being in fucking Wonder Woman the sequel.
That movie was garbage. And for some reason, he still, well, not for some reason, because he's a good actor. Like, he wasn't the worst part of that movie.
Well,
he was fine.
He survived because he's all the memes now of all the something is good, but it could be better.
Yeah.
Everybody likes him now because he's the meme guy that came out of the movie. The one good thing we got out of it.
The one good thing we got out of that was a Pedro Pascal meme.
I was so...
Thank you, Patty Jenkins.
I was so disturbed by him in the movie. I was like, you're not, like, I feel like that character could have been so cool.
100%.
Like, that's such
Maxwell
a cool character.
Lord's
Like, the
pretty
real
cool.
one's kind of really neat character.
Mm-hmm.
And this was not that at all. And it was bad. And he was creepy. And he had a mustache. And it was weird. And now he looks cool. I don't know what they did to him. I don't know if it's like the gray little salt and pepper they gave him.
Have either of you seen the Nicolas Cage movie, the
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I have not seen that, but I want to back up for 1 second just in case, since you've mentioned Nicolas Cage. Have any of you ever seen the movie with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase, Demi Moore and John Candy, Nothing But Trouble?
No.
Okay. There's an amazing scene where basically Dan Aykroyd's character just takes off his face. He has like prosthetic. Like,
no, you're
his
thinking
nose,
of Face Off.
No, it's he has like a prosthetic nose. It's already ridiculous, and then he like takes it off like in like he's looking in the mirror, and it's like this whole thing where he just like, that's Nicolas Cage. That's Nicolas Cage's life, where he just like takes his face off like I'm sure at every like whatever you see Nicolas Cage, I'm like, oh, he's literally in movie makeup all the time.
That is
just to be clear.
Yeah, he does live his life only filming movies at this point.
He bought, as crazy and as insane as that man is, he bought the fucking house, the haunted fucking house in New Orleans. This is the only fucking place that I am legitimately kind of terrified of. Because I took, like the guy said, like, just take a bunch of pictures with your phone. He's like, I took a bunch of pictures with my phone. 3 people this all happened to. You just take a bunch of pictures, click, 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 just whatever. Take a bunch of pictures in a row. Now, granted, you could create some kind of glitch when you do that, but I've done that plenty of times where there's never a glitch. 3 people do it to this place, and there's a glitch, and it's the place where they fuck these fucking like scientists, doctor people, like cut up people and like turn them into crab people, like cut up their limbs and like reattach them so that they were like fucking all deformed and like fucking monsters to sew people together. Just horror show, like what you make Halloween walkthroughs of, like that kind of shit for years.
You
like,
just made me yearn for a haunted house.
So like I take all these pictures, click, 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 and like one of them is just like a distorted, like fucking hazy, like a hellscape, like what, or blurry, but it's not. It's. I still have the picture. I'll show it to you. It's insane.
Okay.
And like 4 people did the same thing happen on their phones. That was the weirdest thing to me. Nicolas Cage bought that place, like, and tried to live there for a while. Even he wasn't fucking insane enough to fucking stay there. He fucking eventually leaves. Interesting story. Go to New Orleans. Check these places out. Places haunted as fuck.
So back to The Last of Us.
These people are into haunted shit.
I was just gonna add out that Pedro Pascal is in that movie.
Yeah.
And
The
he's
meme
also,
of him and Nicolas Cage in the car.
but he's also a very, very different kind of character in that too, of just like this weird, like rich super fan.
Which movie?
Nick Cage.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nicolas Cage movie that came out last year. We were gonna try to watch it, but then it just fell through the cracks because we just got busy.
It's good
Right.
too. I like it.
We could still watch it. You can still enjoy a movie.
Nope.
That is true. We do need to make content out of all the movies. So.
Anyway, Last of Us. Fucking this episode showcases how exactly badass Ellie is as a fucking 14-year-old girl taking on these grown-ass psychopath men. And it was just incredible. I loved seeing fucking beardy McBeanie head man, who I don't remember his fucking name, but he was played by Troy Baker.
Yep.
You remember the guy that she puts a cleaver in his neck?
I'm Troy Baker.
Yeah, that guy. He
does
voices
the
Joel in the
podcast,
game.
and he does the podcast.
He does a podcast
He's the
called
TB
Play Watch.
and-
He does the podcast for.
Oh, you mean
He does the official podcast for the show.
Yeah.
Don't listen to that. I usually listen to our podcast.
Yeah, listen to our podcast instead of the official podcast.
We'll tell you what they say.
But
you should
he said,
actually watch his
"This
movie
show's
after
great."
we're done wrapping up episode 9
Ellie just put a
of
fucking
season 2.
cleaver in his neck, and that was fucking badass as hell.
I dug it.
The fucking massive weight of
I
her
like
balls.
I like her delivery, like buddy boy.
Yeah.
Like how would you? Because it sounded really natural, like it came out of her, like out of nowhere, and then she repeated it afterwards. Like, buddy boy goes next. It's like, okay, all right, you're sticking with it.
Yep,
Like,
I can get
buddy
behind
boy.
this.
Maybe
We're like
I hope
1940s mobsters, see?
a buddy
Yeah.
boy. Like,
Fucking awesome, super baller. Also, if you're gonna chase a young girl and try to kill her / rape her, because both are apparently on David's mind, and she lights a curtain on fire in your very wooden resort, maybe put out the fire before you start chasing her.
I mean, but to his credit,
he
though,
looks at it and
he
kind
does
of goes
give
like,
a second of like, fuck, should I deal with that right now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
that sucks, but like, I really want to chase down this girl.
Also, it looked very cool when all the shit's going down.
To be fair, I don't think a home in the post-apocalypse, like especially in this area, is as valuable as we might imagine.
Also, do
You know,
they
you
have
can
fire
afford
extinguishers waiting around at every corner?
Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying, like, as long, like, you may lose the usage of it for the time or whatever, but like, they live in a fortified area. There's plenty
It's
of
a
places.
ski resort.
There's not a lot of people. There's plenty of places to live. Like, it's not like it's like a real loss. It's not like it is your home burning down.
I suppose.
But on the same token, it's just like, no, that was all done for like the devil effect. I mean, this guy was clearly
Yeah, this guy was
the devil.
him standing there in the flames screaming, "I haven't shown you how good I am yet." Like that gave me some supervillain chills.
It is funny because at the very end of the episode, in the little like brief podcast,
the behind the
recap-
scenes,
yeah, the little recap they do.
inside the episode, it's called.
They're like, yeah, when you first meet him, you're like, did Ellie find like the first good guy in the apocalypse? I'm like, yeah, maybe if you're dumb. You see, I saw this guy's second one. I was like, oh, he's the worst person on the planet here. And it was like, I don't need to see him do anything yet.
Yeah,
I just
but
kind of know.
we have the luxury of seeing this from an audience perspective.
Yeah, no, it's
where we've seen The Walking Dead, we've seen all these shows, and it's like, oh, well, that guy's clearly not who he thinks he is or who he presents to be. This guy
Sure.
clearly has ulterior motives. This guy's clearly a fucking psychopath.
I just thought it was very funny where they recapping the episode, and I was just like, yeah, no.
But he's just sweet.
As far as post-apocalyptic zombies, Mr. D, how do you feel about these compared to your Walking Dead cannibals? I'm sorry, post-apocalyptic cannibals. How do you feel about these guys compared to your
Zombies
Walking
are
Dead
sort of
guys?
cannibals with extra steps.
Do you mean like the various portrayals of like people like this that's resorted to eating
Yeah,
people
sure.
like the zombies?
Yeah,
do?
it's a trope.
Because this was a big one in
they're
Walking
good.
Dead.
I like how they
Terminus, I
did
think.
this. I mean, like there was a really great creepy effect, like I said, with the meat. It's super bloody and they put them in the fucking
In the soup.
saucepans, so it's and then you hear all the clanging of the utensils. It's like you just hear all the
Yeah, it
eating,
was
slurping.
such a viscerally. I was
I
trying
hate
to,
that sound no matter what. So like to put it in the context, and I knew I kind of because at that point they haven't
They haven't
revealed
stated
this.
it, but it's hinted at.
Yeah, I couldn't tell how they were playing it. Like it was a little too, like I said, it's tropey, so it's hard to not assume that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one, but I was definitely taken in by the guy. Like I thought this was going to be more of like I was less buying into what he was doing, what he was selling, and more just thinking of him as like Yeah, they seem desperate. Like, yeah, like they seem.
I think he seems like he's the most kind of like over the top supervillain kind of character out of all the people they've run into. Like the
Well, you remember the end of the game when they come face to face with Thanos.
That is true, and Joel does say, "I'm the last of us," and he snaps his fingers.
Yep, and then and then it's Morbin time.
And he says, "I am the last of us."
The contractor snaps his fingers.
And they're like,
everybody loves contractors.
And then that guy goes across the screen with his hands in his head.
He erases Thanos and brings back half the universe and kills all the bad guys, but also the clickers are still there for some reason. He forgot about that part.
He's like, oh shit, do I have another snap in me?
No, it's
God
fried.
Damn it,
It's fried and I'm dead.
Oh, it's fried and I'm dead.
That's what he said. That's what Iron Man said. Right? He goes, "Oh fuck! I should have fixed world hunger too."
And then they roll the credits and they go. Dun, 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 dun.
The Last of Us.
Yeah, that's how the you guys don't even need to watch the season finale next
Yeah,
week.
we did
That's what
spoil
happens. That's what happens.
We did it all for
I'm
you.
sure you did spoil it, but fair.
I mean,
Whatever.
in a previous episode,
now
yes.
I get no.
It is fucked up.
Now I know because of this. What I listened to.
Oh, Thanos.
Nope. The other thing.
Oh.
Yep. Now
No.
I know exactly what happens from head
No,
to
you
toe.
don't.
Yep, I do.
You think you do, you don't.
Nope. I know
Okay.
everything. I know everything. You don't think I know, but I know.
Unless you looked it up, you don't know, because I haven't said it or hinted at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Cool. We'll talk later.
Okay.
And then you'll tell me all about how wrong you are.
No. we won't.
So this is kind of it in the game. There's only one big event left in the game,
Yeah, I know what it is.
and yeah, you sure do. It's when Joel admits that he voted for Reagan, and then Ellie has to be
I
like,
would've
"Who's
guessed that.
Reagan?"
And he
And they're
goes,
like, find out next season.
and he goes, everybody loved Reagan.
Reaganomics works, everybody. Trickle down.
Everybody loved
Come back
Reagan.
next season for the next To Last of Us.
The next The Last of Us. We'll be right back. This episode was awesome. It was really dark. Ellie became a murdering badass, and it was really, really good. I enjoyed this episode a lot. It was great. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, baby girl.
I enjoyed watching.
I don't know how I feel about you calling Jeff baby girl.
It's what he calls me in bed, so it's okay.
I mean, okay.
I enjoyed watching Joel like down like a quart of blood with a sewn up hole in his abdomen, still sneaking up on people and taking them out, and then just like we cut to them like tied up in the house, and he's just punching them, but like he's clearly losing his footing and running out of breath with each punch, but he still gets back up to punch him again and be like, "Where is she?"
I like the idea that if you kind of have X-ray vision, so if you're Superman and you have X-ray vision, and you're just watching people through walls like you do when you're Superman. And you're just watching this from afar, doing jack shit because you're fucking Superman. And like, what do you give a shit about these two people? But you're you check in for people.
You're like, what are those ants up to?
Maybe I'm talking about Homelander. Anyway, he's
Homelander.
He's looking over, and he would see Ellie and them fighting over there, and then you would kind of comically see Joel slowly making his way to help, and he's like, "Ooh, what's gonna happen?" Like he would see the whole thing play out, like kind of in. Like slowly, and then he would hilariously be like, "Oh, you're not gonna make it," and then she would be like, "Oh, you just made. Oh, she saved herself," and then he would walk out like, "Oh, look how traumatized she is."
How many people do you think?
Oh, he
this is
was
a
right
side-
there.
This is a side tangent. How many people do you think have died of lead poisoning trying to hide from Superman? Famously, he can't see through lead. So how many villains have been like, "I'll just make my whole fort out of lead," and then they die?
I love how Homelander can't see through zinc as a clear like
Well,
reference.
I tried to use a gun to make my whole forehead full of lead, so that he couldn't see into my head, and I ended up just shooting myself in the head.
Oh man, that's so depressing.
Yeah, it was.
I made my
sad.
whole suit of
It was
armor
sad.
out of lead, so he can't find out my secret identity. Ah, fuck! I'm dying.
Well, you're not gonna die unless you ingest it, but like you can't move. You're gonna just stay in one spot
It's
forever.
very heavy.
What if Iron Man was Lead Man?
Every
It's like
time-
the Mark 7 is
when he
like made of
repulsor
lead.
blasts, it like kind of like sends a little puff of lead into the air, and it kind of poisons everyone around him.
In 18 years, you're gonna have cancer.
Damn it!
I like the idea that like
They don't beat Thanos. They
Superman's
just give him
powers.
cancer.
Superman's powers are so dumb. Do you know some of the crazy ones?
I know.
Yeah.
You know
my favorite. My favorite
the little
one.
one,
Is
the
little
tiny
Superman
mini
out of his
Superman,
sleeve.
tiny Superman out of a sleeve.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know about tiny Superman out of his sleeve.
Oh, come on, man. That is
Superman,
They
good
really
shit.
50s, 60s. They really decided, what if he could do anything? And there was like all the
He
dumbest
is a
shit.
Superman.
That's true.
Whoa,
But, like,
is that where
then-
they get the name from?
But then a bunch of weird shit stuck, like the what was I just mentioning, the lead. Like, why can't he see the lead? Like, is there a reasoning like for that?
It's too thick.
Because he has X-ray vision, and you wear lead to protect yourself from X-rays, so the science is there. I'm not saying it's good
Fine.
science. I'm saying it's
I'll,
there.
I'll be fair. The Smallville show was the first show to ever actually portray it as X-ray. Everybody else just had you see through it. Like,
Yeah.
every other portrayal was just like, look, I can
See
use
through
a
all.
video camera. But yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else to say about The Last of Us, or is that
No,
it?
we're talking about Smallville. We're fresh.
Oh,
with ideas.
right. I'm sorry.
I actually
it's a
did
really-
start watching the Superman animated series. I'm going to watch Batman after
Thank you
that.
all for listening to this episode of the podcast
Justice League.
where we talked about Last of Us for like 10
These
minutes.
are
Just-
other shows that
Justice
we
League Unlimited.
might cover, maybe.
These
Last of
ones?
Us is really, really good. Obviously, you know that if you're still here and listening. The season finale is next week, so tune in for that, and we will see the end of season 1. Curious to see where they leave it, because I'm very interested to see what happens
Yeah, they're gonna leave it to Beaver.
and how far they stray from
think-
the source material.
I have a prediction. I'm not going to spoil the episode because I know how the game ends.
Correct.
I think that the next
Yeah,
episode
so do I.
is pretty much going to be a shot for shot
Of the
recreation.
end of the game?
I don't think that they change that.
It's a pretty good ending. I don't see how they could change it, especially not with Neil Druckmann being the executive
And
producer.
this show really has cemented itself as
Listen.
being like, listen, if it's not
I'm pretty-
broke, don't fix
I'm
it.
pretty confident I know how the ending is, but like,
What's your best guess?
Just say yes or no. Just say your yes or no. Morpheus is in it, right?
Oh,
Fuck,
man!
he
Morpheus
does know.
is
He
in
does
it.
know.
Holy
he does know.
shit, he
right?
knows, man!
I fucking
No.
knew it.
God
knew
God
it.
damn. Joel
I
takes the
knew it.
Joel takes the blue pill and wakes
I
up.
knew it. He wakes right up, and it was a whole game. And now you're in that world,
It's the
and
red-
now
it's
you're
the
at,
red
and
pill that
now
makes
you're
you
Ellie.
wake up. The red pill.
I
wakes you up.
get it. I get it.
It's actually Joel wakes up in his bed and he's just holding a PlayStation controller, and his wife is like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And she's just he's like,
Oh, it's
I don't-
Pedro Pascal got
don't
really
know.
absorbed into The Last of Us. He goes, I thought I was Joel. I thought I was Joel. And he's looking at his hands. He's sweating.
and then he pulls up his shirt and the scar is there, and he's like, and then it cuts. Anyway, that's it for Last of Us episode 7. We will see you next week for episode 8.
Will we?
Or-
Maybe.
Now, this was
I don't,
8.
I don't know if we guaranteed they're coming back this week. I don't know if I'm sure about that this episode.
Well, you got drunk, and
also-
we got
I'm not
silly.
drunk at all. No, I stopped drinking a while back.
We also
Been drinking
could all,
this
we also
water
could
right
all
here.
die. All of us.
Oh, this is Pellegrino, not wine.
Oh, I really thought that was like sparkling wine, and you were just chasing whiskey with wine. I was like, bro, you gotta dial back your alcoholism.
Oh no. Oh no. Pellegrino.
Not sponsored.